Tina Fey and I had an agreement that if Barack Obama won, I would speak for the show from now on. Welcome to post-racial America. I'm the face of post-racial America. Deal with it, Kate Blanchett.
Tracy Morgan accepted a Golden Globe for 30 Rock in 2009 in a typically unpredictable way, and very much in keeping with the wild character he plays on the show. That character was created for Morgan by Tina Fey, the creator and star of 30 Rock. She also worked with Morgan on Saturday Night Live, where he spent 7 years. What has also added to Tracy Morgan's reputation as unpredictable is his behavior in interviews, and this one was no different. We started off talking about his memoir, I Am the New Black. In writing about his childhood, he described growing up in the tough Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood of Brooklyn, and then moving to live with his father, a Vietnam veteran who was addicted to heroin during the war. You write about how you left your mother's home in Brooklyn to live in your father's home in the Bronx when you were in high school.
I thought it was because I wanted to play football and she didn't want to let me.
And now what do you think?
I think it was bigger than that. Now that I look back on it now, I think that I ran because if I would have stayed, I might have became a statistic like some of my other friends. I might have got caught up in the streets, and I might not be sitting here talking to you. So I did what I thought was best for me, and I ran, and I went to my father, who put me in a high school with a football team, and said, run, Trey, have fun. And by the time I really got to know him, I was still going through anger. Because I was still angry. I was like any other inner city child with a chip on his shoulder because his daddy and his mommy wasn't together.
And I should say, when you went to live with your father, he wasn't using anymore, right?
No, he had stopped maybe 10 years.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that clear.
But it was too late. Yeah, it was too late. He wasn't using then. My father was, he was down like 4 flat tires at that time, but I was angry. He was always in my life. My father was always there, took me fishing and all these things. But it's not like having daddy there.
In reading your memoir, it seemed to me the most emotionally difficult part of what you were writing was writing about leaving your mother. That when you were in high school, you decided you didn't want to live with her anymore, you wanted to live with your father. And you just kind of left one day.
It was a terrible situation. It was a really terrible situation, and it wasn't my mother's fault. Something just went off in me. I wanted better for me. And I not only ran away, I came back a year later and got my little brother and my little sister.
And took them with you to your father's house.
Yeah. And
he got custody. He got legal custody. Which
that was really hard. That was the hardest day of my life. And I heard my mother cry. And it just broke me down. And I think about it now. I never meant to hurt my mother.
In the book you describe how are you okay to keep going?
Yeah.
In the book, you describe how you and your mother never reconciled.
One day we will. Maybe one day she'll pick up this book.
I figure she would.
Maybe she'll read it.
Do you intend a way of saying to her, let's talk?
When you talk, argue with you and walk out the room. When you talk to somebody on the phone, they can hang up on you. But when you write them a letter, they have that letter. They just have to read that letter. Me, I forgive my mother and I move. That's for moving on. That's for me. My mother had forgiven me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is I stand with the position you was in and why you did what you did. I love mother made sure her stubbornness, she made sure we would. That was my mother. My father wasn't there for that.
You know it's going to be odd for people hearing this. A lot of people say that when they see you being interviewed, that they never know, the Tracy Morgan and women's. And so people are always used to seeing you being comically over the top as yourself on television. I'm not talking about 30 Rock or anything. I'm just talking about like when you're interviewed. And there's a famous thing that's all over YouTube where you're interviewed by a local TV show.
Well, you're the first person to ever interview me in retrospect.
Is that true?
Now you're seeing the other side.
Oh, okay.
Now you're seeing the other side because
it's just like
you was
completely.
Interested.
It's like 180 degrees from the over the top comic side. It's like whoa. It's like
I love you for that, Terry. I love you for that. Just caring, just being interested. I love you just for that. You know, and I feel good. I feel good.
Being that emotional.
It's emotional. It's emotional for me. It is, and I got to be honest with thyself. I'm funny. I still turn the funny on. The funny bus is still sitting downstairs. Yeah, the funny bus. I got a whole truckload of funny downstairs.
Okay.
Stop.
I just think people are going to be kind of stunned, like, whoa, this is like not what I was expecting. It's like he's got his.
Well, you think
he's
they're
got
going to say I had a meltdown on the air? And all that? Yeah,
no, but
people cry.
No,
people
I know.
have emotions.
No, I know.
I feel.
I know.
Yeah, I feel.
So, I want to get to Saturday Night Live when you joined there. I'm going to quote something from the book. You say, "I'm real life ghetto, and that's probably why they brought me into Saturday Night Live. But Saturday Night Live wasn't ready for that, not at first. I had my finger on the pulse of urban comedy, but when I brought my act to Saturday Night Live, they just felt bad for me." I want to play an excerpt of a sketch from Saturday Night Live that kind of satirized the differences between you and other members of the staff. So this is a sketch with Rachel Dratch, and before you're co-hosting a talk show, and she describes it as a show inspired by actual conversations and interactions between Rachel Dratch and Tracy Morgan. So here it is.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Rachel.
I'm Tracy.
And today we'll be talking to a funny man and talk show host in his own right, Jon Stewart. But first, a segment called Catching Up, where Tracy and I catch up with what's going on in each other's lives. So, Tracy, what'd you do last night?
I just chilled out with the homeboys, you know what I'm saying? Busted down a couple of bottles of Cristal at the club. Drove around my baby blue Jaguar. Typical bad boy stuff.
Cool.
What about you, Dratch? What you did last night?
I went to this Brazilian restaurant on the Upper West Side with a couple Dartmouth friends. You should go. They have really good flan.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
So that's Rachel Dratch and my guest Tracy Morgan on Saturday Night Live. So was there like a culture gap similar to the one that we just heard in that sketch between you and Rachel Dratch, or you and other members of the show?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We celebrated the differences and where the places that we came from. Saturday Night Live was like a university for funny. And at that point, I realized that in order for me to do it, I had to put my guards down and let the writers see my flaws to make fun of them. And I learned how to do it. And that was my process. That became my process. Okay, when I'm doing it, it may be too urban for this mainstream audience. So I let the young guys, the mainstream writers, do it. But I'll give them the stuff.
What do you mean you'll give them the stuff?
If I didn't give 30 Rock writers stuff to write about, I mean, what? I'm a 40-year-old black man from the ghetto. You know what I mean? What does a young writer know, white writer know about that?
So what did you give them?
So it's all collaboration. I just started to collaborate, and I realized the gift of collaboration is more than the gift of competition.
How did you start collaborating with Tina Fey on Saturday Night Live?
Just being funny around her. And Tina Fey was basically the first one to go, wait a minute, this dude is funny, but you got to let him be him. You can't be afraid. Yeah, he's edgy. He's from the ghetto, but let's let him be him. And it worked.
So what did she write for you that you thought really worked?
She wrote me in The View.
Oh.
She wrote me in Judge Judy.
Star Jones.
All of these things. Yeah, Star Jones. She wrote all of that stuff.
One of the characters you did on Saturday Night Live was Maya Angelou, the poet and memoirist. And so I just want to play an excerpt of that sketch. It's on Weekend Update with Tina Fey at the desk. And you're wearing this graying wig with large red glasses and lipstick and gold earrings and a kind of almost tie-dye orange-red top.
I remember.
Okay, so here you are as Maya Angelou introducing your Hallmark cards.
This month, Hallmark Cards will release a series of greeting cards written by poet Maya Angelou. Here now with a preview of her work is Maya Angelou.
Thanks, Tina. As always, you effervesce the sweet aroma of woman in full bloom.
Thank you. That's good, right?
Oh, yes. And now I shall read some of my Hallmark cards. I will begin with this one here. It's my favorite. I lay down in my grave and watch my children grow. Proud blooms above the weeds of death. I lay down in my grave to die. Happy 5th birthday, grandson.
Wow, that was moving. It's a very moving sentiment.
It made my grandson cry for days. And look, there's a little slot to put money in.
Oh, so that's perfect.
This next one is my favorite. I see you, brown skin, neat afro, full lips, a little goatee. A Malcolm, a Martin, Du Bois. Sunday service becomes sweeter when you are black, black like the night. Happy bar mitzvah to you, little boobala.
That's Tracy Morgan in a sketch from Saturday Night Live playing the poet Maya Angelou. So when Tina Fey told you that she had written a show around a character that she created for you, what did you think?
I knew it was going to be funny because everything else she had did for me was great. And I was like, Tina, I love Tina. I'll roll with Tina. But what we didn't know was how successful the show was going to be. I know I didn't see all of this coming. 14 Emmys and all of that stuff. Nobody sees all that. We just put the work in and hope people love it.
Now, the title of your new book is I Am the New Black, and that is an allusion in part to a sketch that you did on Weekend Update in 2007 during the presidential campaign. And I want to play that. This was in response. Geraldine Ferraro during the campaign had said about Obama, if he was a white man or a woman, he wouldn't be in this position. He happens to be very lucky to be who he is, implying that he was really lucky to be black because it's making him more popular.
You know, that reminds me of what Lorne Michaels said to me when I first got to Saturday Night Live. And I thought people was isolating me and all of that stuff. And Lorne Michaels called me in the room. And he simply said to me, Tracy, and this is coming from Lorne, and this is why I love that man like he's my father. He said, Tracy, you're not here because you're black. You're here because you're funny. And that's all he had to say to me. My fangs came down and I began to feed.
So how did that change at Saturday Night Live when Lorne Michaels said to you, you're not here because you're black, you're here because you're funny?
It let me know that I was there not because I was black. It let me know I'm here with Will Ferrell because I'm just as funny as him.
So did that...
Now go to work. I don't want to hear no excuses. I was looking for an excuse. And Lauren said, no.
An excuse for what?
I'm not giving you that.
An excuse for what?
To fail, to bail out, to run. Again, like I did when I was a young kid with my mother, to run. And I got to stop running. I stopped running away, and I dealt with it.
Were you considering leaving the show? Did you feel like you were failing?
Yeah, there were times that where you weren't in. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought it was because I was black. They wasn't putting me in the sketches. No, because I wasn't being funny. But I was making my adjustments. I was coming from a different world. I was coming from a world of black people and knowing how to make them laugh. And a lot of black entertainers, sometimes they search for the perfect audience. They stay in their comfort zone. And I was out of my comfort zone. And he said, make yourself comfortable. You're going to be here for a while, my man. You're very talented. And I believed him. Lorne Michaels is my customato, like Cuss was with Mike Tyson. Customato would come in Mike Tyson's room every night and tell him, and Mike knew, he was like, what is this guy talking about? But Cuss was building his confidence up. And that's what Lorne used to always do to me. He wouldn't talk to me, but sometimes he would give me a wink.
He wouldn't talk to you?
Build my confidence up. And I would go out there and I'd do anything to make Lorne Michaels laugh. And it was a confidence builder for me, and I love Lorne for that.
You just said he wouldn't talk to you. Is that because he's not a talkative guy?
No, he was like Vince Lombardi, but he'd give you a wink. He'd give you a wink, pat you on the butt. Yeah, good job. Good, funny sketch. Give you a wink. He won't come over to you if he don't know you. If you're a new cast member, go, you were great, because it might go to your head. But if he give you a wink, then you know you did your thing. But you still got Monday, brother. And you got to come even harder now.